Yes. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for your World Cup daily dosage. It could be daily, it might not be. We have to see how it goes. But big up the damn chat. All right. I see you, man, in there lurking. Yeah. Early bird catches the worm, but it is lateness is greatness. It is late at night. And I thought I would discuss and depict and dispatch and disembark on what none of that made sense. But basically, what I want to do in this stream is talk about what we have witnessed today and a little bit of yesterday as well. I've got some of the best images playing on your screen from the last couple of days of World Cup action that I thought we would recap on, discuss, and you know, and get stuck in, as they say. Do you know what I'm saying? Two-footed challenges. There's been a lot of very hefty challenges in this World Cup so far. I'm not going to lie to you. People have been doing a madness. The referees have been letting things go. I'm not surprised Enna Valencia picked up a little knock on the first game. But listen, let's get into it. I can't even see with these glasses. I can't see what you man are saying to me, man. What you guys telling me, man? What you guys saying? You good? You good? Yeah, everybody good? Yeah, looks good. Yeah, cool, nice. At some point, I'm going to have to take these off. But I'm going to keep these shades on for the beginning, at least, to create that aura. And then like Van Dijk, and then we're going to be switching over straight away. Before I get into the comments, I'm just going to go through, I guess, what I've made of this tournament so far. The only game that I didn't get to watch in real time was the England match. And that's because I was traveling as it was taking place. All the other games I've been able to watch, and there's been obviously a lot of Chelsea players involved as well. I think it's only right that we start with the title, the headline act, the main stage event. Do you know what I mean? Not Drake, not little Yachty, little Mendy. Do you know what I mean? Little Mendy making big mistakes and howlers today. I was watching that game, covering that game on DR. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, that was wild from Mendy. You know, he was making mistakes in areas where you just don't expect. Now, I'm going to put it down to two things. First of all, concentration as a goalkeeper is absolutely critical. When you play for a top team like Chelsea and obviously Senegal, who have won AFCON, who have got through the qualifiers against Egypt, and obviously they were missing Sadio Mane massively. When you go through and you play very well against a Dutch team that really didn't really have that magic, they didn't really have that sparkle, they didn't really have that little end product that you need until obviously the 2 goals came. Only 2 shots on target, by the way. Concentration levels have got to be higher. Up until that point, Holland had not had a single shot on target. But one thing you expect with Mendy, with his massive frame, with his tall self, massive height on him, is you expect this man to be able to claim crosses. It was a beautiful ball in for De Jong, don't get me wrong. And Gakpo ain't no slouch. That man's 6'2". He's tall. Much taller than I envisioned when you put him alongside Mendy in a position like that. But damn, not collecting that cross. I've had a lot of Man United fans DMing me, atting me, telling me, oh, see, look, what about Mendy now? Because obviously I've been taking shots at De Gea because he's not involved. He didn't even make the provisionals. Sorry to put that out there again. But Mendy today, you let me down, big man. I'm not going to lie to you, because your country, Senegal, were doing well. They were doing business. They were doing everything that needs to be done, but put the ball in the back of the net. They had a lot of shots on top. They had a lot of shots on goal. The finishing was horrendous. They were clearly missing Sadio Mane. But should have minimum took a point. I know when you look at that scoreline, if you didn't watch the game, you're going to think to yourselves, wow, Holland just dominated, cleaned up. You know, nah, it wasn't like that. Mendy really made 2 howlers, in my opinion, that cost his country today in a vital game where they could have picked up a point. And like I said, cross collection, he just came out flapping. It was definitely not a foul. It's one of the easiest decisions you're ever going to have to make. We've had a lot more difficult ones, obviously, from that first game, Ecuador versus Qatar. I feel like Mendy, he just got in deer in headlights. You know, he just allowed Gakpo to kind of get the march on him, come across. Should people be tracking his run a bit better? I'm not going to lie. It's an incredible run. It's a brilliant run. He's ghosted. Nobody's seen him whatsoever. They haven't played an offside trap. They haven't marked him. They have done nothing really with that. But Mendy, and then the second goal, I don't know what you guys think about that. I'm going to get into your comments in just a second. Let me take off these shades because I can't see shit. Yeah, that's just for the intros. I don't need to do that anymore. All right, back to nerd tax. Mendy with that second goal, just palming the ball away. Again, just very very soft. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think as a goalkeeper, sometimes you just actually need to get a smaller touch on the ball. It's almost like he got too much on it, and then it just led to a situation where just a simple tapping. But if he just gets a lot less of a touch on that ball and steers out for a corner, then it's all good. But he parries it straight into the attacker for Holland. And, you know, it flatters them massively, that scoreline. But when we're tracking Chelsea players, which is what this show is mainly about, tracking the Chelsea players, it's not a great start for Mendy. And I really do hope he recovers. We've seen the best of Mendy at Chelsea. We've seen him lift, you know, the UEFA Goalkeeper of the Year award, part of that Champions League winning team. Incredible defense. That defense was incredible. It's very important to note. We're seeing the absence of Rudiger in our team and how big that has been for us in terms of the leadership, the tenacity, the shithousery, and also the quality in the back three. Koulibaly is yet to step up to that level. We're going to come up to him in a minute. But Mendy has got to get it together very quickly, because Senegal, they can still go through. Remember in 2010, Spain, they lost at their first game and then they went on to win the competition. I'm not saying Senegal are going to win. I'm not saying Senegal are going to win at all. But you can still go through even with your first defeat. They've got Ecuador and they got Qatar. There is definitely, you know, an opportunity for them to bag 6 points there. And the rest of those teams are not unbeatable. However, it's not a great start. And his form has been very dodgy over the last calendar year, you could say. You know, Real Madrid, you all remember that moment in the Champions League at Stamford Bridge. He's, you know, many moments. We have to get into them right now. But Mendy, big L, unfortunately, today. And it wasn't nice to see. Koulibaly, listen, from a Chelsea perspective, he's been very rash. He's looked very rough around the edges. But I'm going to take you back to a stream that we did. I mean, in this game, I thought Senegal, until the goals, they defended quite well. You know, like I said, Holland had not had a shot on target. Obviously, Koulibaly is captain. He was up against the captain of Van Dijk as well, who is, you know, making his debut tournament for Holland, which is nuts. I couldn't believe that. Big up the chat, everybody. Big up. I see you all in here. The bank balance sheet. Listen, if you can understand the little props on the overlay, then big up. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on the overlay. So, do you know what I mean? It's all over the place. It's all over the place. Koulibaly's been very rash. In this game, I thought he was solid. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, they didn't have any shots on target until, you know, the 2 goals, which straight on target, Mendy lets them in, not good enough. But I remember doing a show with many Italian Serie A experts on this channel when we were trying to sign Koulibaly. Remember, we had the series. People are only now just reading and understanding the things that are going on in overlay. Keep looking, keep searching. Do you know what I mean? When it comes down to Mendy, he needs to feel comfortable. I think that I think his form, I know he looks a little bit, I don't know. I feel like his form is not just down to his ability, because I still believe this is a top defender on his day. The back 3 change, I think he's quoted on saying that is a definitely something he's adapting to. He's learning the tactics of playing in the back 3. It's not what he's used to. I personally feel like he's going to be best served playing in the middle of a back 3. But obviously for Senegal, who's back to the back 4. And like I said, I thought he was pretty solid. You could say maybe for the second goal, the whole defense is just looking meaty. I'm not going to lie. It's not just the goalkeeper. I'm not just going to just blame Mendy for the second goal. But I'm going to put into context that we're 99 minutes in at this point. People are tired. They've been working their bollocks off for the whole game. And then, of course, they concede trying to chase the game. Yes, it doesn't look good for any defender, but I'm just going to put that down to more tiredness. I do like... Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below in terms of they're actually now adding on all of the minutes. Any time wasted. Dominic saying that he needs to go. Any time wasted, they're adding it on. We're seeing... First half, 10 minutes of added on time, 9 minutes of added on time, 8 minutes of added on time. Can you imagine if this was happening in the Premier League? It's insane, guys, what we're witnessing. Absolutely insane. I remember saying as well that, like I said, with Koulibaly, he needs to feel settled. He needs to feel comfortable. It's very much personal. When he was at Naples, when he was at Napoli, he felt at home. You know, it was stability. Nothing changed. He loved the city, etc. When you come to Chelsea, immediately that settled situation, that doesn't work around here. We don't do that. We sack managers and suddenly the man that brought you in that's been coaching you is gone. The whole backroom staff has changed. And I just feel like these things play a part. You know, I do think these things play a part. Also, maybe he was expected to play with Mendy, you know, his international teammate. Obviously, Kepa dislodges Mendy due to a slight injury, and then Kepa goes on incredible form. That little connection that we were always talking about in the transfer window between those two was never really struck up. These little things, I think they make a big difference for Koulibaly. I think when you look at the player, he's not like a Rudiger. He's not really outspoken. He doesn't look like he's mad, like, you know, vocal in terms of that. He seems a little bit more, you know, a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit more of a calm, composed, you know, figure. He reminds me a little bit of a friendly giant, kind of, so to speak, kind of like a bigger Kante. You know, he seems like very, you know, just within himself. And he obviously has leadership skills because he's, you know, leading for Senegal and he's wearing the armband, but he's a different type of personality to Rudiger. And I think if you, this is a player that's been at Napoli his majority of his career. When you take him from that environment, like I said, a settled environment, and you put him in a chaotic one, he's probably thinking, rah, what's going on? And obviously his age doesn't help, because with experience, you expect them to be able to deal with these things. If he was 21, everybody would be like, oh, it's understandable. But like I said, he's a different type of person. So I do think his environment being all over the place is not helping. So that's one thing there. But he was solid. And like I said, Mendy just has to hold that L. Let's see what you guys are saying before we move on to other matches. Koulibaly can't cope with the intensity of the league. Can't see him improving at 31. Violins are out for Justin. The violin is on the bank balance sheet. Do you know what I'm saying? Along with the apple juice. Obviously, you can't drink that in Qatar. The Bali's there as well. The grey dressing gowns on there as well. And the nerd tax has been applied. So, do you know what I mean? It is what it is. This new extra time setting is good for actual playing. It's good for, it makes less time wasting. I think once the players figure out that literally you can't time waste, like we will just add on all of the minutes. Like, honestly, you even go down for a second and try to milk any sort of situation. Best believe we are just stopping the watch. And if they're learning that, then along the way, you know, they're gonna start to hopefully do the business and stand up to the challenges and play the game in an honest, fair manner. I think to myself, we can say to referees, maybe we should book them, you know, for diving, all these things. But human errors are always going to come into these things, and then it's never going to be consistent. If you just stop the watch and add on the time, that will cut out half of the shenanigans. I'm not going to lie, because no one wants to play 100 minutes. These players definitely don't want to play 100 minutes. So it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, they banned apple juice out there. But do you know what? I don't really mind them banning apple juice. Do you know what I mean? Last time the apple juice was allowed to run in the Euros, the stadium got trashed. So yeah, I don't really think it's a bad thing. And then I remember seeing that Dyer quoted, and he said that you know, you should be able to enjoy the game without alcohol, which I completely agree with, of course. Just the same, you know, I would apply that to parties and going out. You should be able to enjoy yourself without alcohol. If you need the alcohol, then there's probably something wrong. But then someone quoted it and they were like, listen, we need the alcohol to watch you. And I was just cackling. I'm not going to lie. That was hilarious. Mandem said, listen, we're watching you, Eric Dyer, play. We need the alcohol, big man. Do you know what I'm saying? Bring over the Stellas. So yeah, that was jokes. Big Steve warned us on KK. Seems like he's kind of always spot on with Chelsea takes, even though they seem outrageous when he utters them. Unfortunately, he's free for free right now. Do you know what I mean? Actually, no, hold on. He wasn't, because obviously with the Champions League, he thought he was going to pepper us, and that didn't happen. So, but yeah, he's taken a lot of dubs on that one. So it is what it is. The stop and starts during the game for soft fouls is annoying. I can't lie. It is a bit stop and start. There was a lot of bad tackles though in these early few fixtures. I do feel like that whistle had to be blown. There was some mad challenges in the first half of the Qatar-Ecuador game. Obviously, that's where that celebration, that picture. I'm just putting up some of my favorite pictures. I mean, I think they're all symbolizing different things. I think Sterling, obviously, back out on the wing. We're going to talk about that later on. Back in, I mean, it's Iran. It's Iran, so we have to take it with a pinch of salt. They're still a decent team. Don't have it twisted. I expect Iran to compete with Wales and the US when they play. I don't expect them to get trashed. But England, when you look at England's attacking options, it's some of the best attacking options in the tournament. The big issue and why people will be more hesitant to, like myself, put England in that top tier category of actually going and winning it is because of that defense. And that defense is very, very suspect. And we saw it today. You know, like I said, that's like that defense can up against the best players. You know, you imagine Vinny up against Trent or Trippier. You imagine Neymar versus Maguire or whatever. It just doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good. Di Maria's, you know, Martinez's, and you know, Messi's and Mbappe's. You know, Mbappe versus Maguire. You know, these things keep me up at night. Do you know what I mean? Bright is saying, let's see your pet lion. I might get one, you know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might get a pet lion. It's definitely on the bucket list. It should be on the bank balance, but that shit's expensive. Do you know what I'm saying? Let's see what else you're gonna say. I'll give you some predictions on tomorrow's games for sure. Also, so we spoke about Senegal, but we have to give the props, you know, to Holland, because they didn't play great, but Gakpo, he was one of those players. I didn't mention him in my, you know, ones to watch or breakout players, because we're not really linked to him. It's more Manchester United, but he is a player that statistically, you know, according to some of my sources, he's second to Haaland this season. When you look at Gakpo statistically in his last like 158 games, he's over 100 goal contributions. I know it's the Eredivisie and people will put some tax on that, but Gakpo, his output is insane. I know he didn't play great against Arsenal for PSV, and people were like, is he really all that? He's 23 years old, 6'2". You know, he gives off those Tino Anjorin type vibes with his build, and maybe a younger version of Loftus-Cheek, maybe. But the guy's got output. You know, he's got a lot of output. So let's see. You know, he's going to probably make a big move, and if he keeps up going through this tournament like this, then he's definitely gonna get his flowers, and he's probably gonna move earlier than expected. No, Ziyech did not have those stats. I'm not gonna lie, Ziyech did not have those stats, but I hear what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? We have to take them out of the Eredivisie, and we have to plant them in the Prem. We've seen Bergwijn come to this league and not do nothing, but we've seen Van Persie and Luis Suarez come from the same league and do a madness. So you can never just look at the league and just clarify all players from that league are suddenly not worth your time of day. Every player is an individual, is different. Of course, you're more hesitant with certain leagues as opposed to others. I personally feel like Ligue 1 translates better to the Prem than Eredivisie or Bundesliga. However, that doesn't mean every single player in the Eredivisie or Bundesliga is immediately washed. Do you know what I'm saying? So it depends on the player and the mentality. Okay, we talk about the ability. I still believe Kai Havertz has ability, but we talk about not just ability when you come to the Prem. It's mentality, mental fortitude, and strength. And I'm not talking about you need to be packed out. I'm not talking about you need to be hench, but you need to be able to, you know, you need to be able to survive. You need to be able to have that little grit, that little bit of bastard in you, a little bit of shithouse, or you need to be able to ride challenges. You need to be able to take physical contact. A lot of these players that come from overseas that don't work out, they're not able to take physical contact, or they don't have any P&P in them whatsoever, and they just rely upon maybe the pass or combination play. I'm not going to get into those individuals, but you know who I'm talking about. You need a bit of P&P, just a little bit, especially if you play on the wing. Listen, it would help, you know, if you had a bit of P&P. I'm not saying you're going to completely fail if you don't have it, but if you don't have it, you better be one hell of a passer. You better have ridiculous skill and close control, and you better be an incredible shooter. Because if you're not all them things and you ain't got no P&P on the wing, then I don't know what you're doing. Great gravy. I thought that said gravy. That must mean I'm hungry. Okay, so you're just saying that, Alex, because you really like Ziyech and you feel like that because it hasn't worked out, you have to take shots at other players. Listen, just let it go, bro. But yes, let's make sure that we give Holland their flowers for their goals. They were clinical, 2 shots on target, I believe, and 2 goals. So that's lovely. Man said P&P, postage and packaging. That's brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Fair play to you. That's really good. I enjoyed that. Make sure you smash up the likes. There's over nearly 200 of you in here. Make sure you smash it up. Get it up to 100 likes. Now, let's do it. Do you know what I'm saying? The overlay is looking fresh. The gear is looking good. Okay, so do I think the Champions League has made him complacent? I don't think complacency is Mendy's issue, if I'm being honest. From the storyline that he has followed throughout his career in terms of being unemployed, you know, losing his agent, losing the confidence and the support system around him, having to work his way from the ground up to a club like Chelsea, which for a player of Mendy's stature, maybe 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, was the unthinkable. I can't believe that a player like that would have complacency issues at the top level, especially when he didn't cost a lot. He's only on 50k a week. He can easily be replaced by a club like Chelsea, and he can be benched, and he has been by Kepa already. And that's, you know, that's a goalkeeper that's had his own problems. So I don't think it's complacency, but I don't know what it is. So I don't think it's complacency, but, you know, from a ball playing aspect, I'm cool. I know what it is. I know what time it is. But from a cross collection standpoint today, that was wild. But I do believe that one of these goalkeepers have to go. I don't know which one is going to end up leaving. I still personally would say, you know, Kepa is the one that's more expensive on the books in terms of the wages, cost effective. It doesn't really make sense to keep him. But Mendy, you know, it's all about form as well. You have to take that into account. Okay, let's see what everybody else is saying. Mendy might be finished as troop. I wouldn't say that, but I would definitely say that he's got to fix up because this is a big season for the goalkeepers and the debate. Okay. You explained why Iran was so bad in your first comment. I'll be checking that out because it was a lot of goals that you shipped against England. And obviously, like I said, England's attack is pretty impressive, but even still. Okay, so as a Iranian fellow, I must say that the team that played today wasn't the team and manager that qualified. New guys, that was our old manager bringing a player from the past when he was here. Okay, so what you're telling me is that that's not really the true reflection of what the Iran team are capable of. I personally feel like, you know, I expect you to be a lot more competitive. I don't know the ins and outs of your managerial situation and your individuals on that football pitch. I know your striker from Porto is a bagsman, but I don't know the rest of the team like that. So listen, as long as you're competitive, that's all that really matters. Do you know what I mean? I don't think the expectations are ridiculously high. Big up Dominic for saying smash up them likes. Smash up them likes. You're getting the true Lateness's greatness stream here today. It's late. It's great. As you can see by the alarm clock is written out. The moon is set. Do you know what I'm saying? The bank balance is hefty. The mattress is laid with the socials down below. Bald Tease is on your left. Smart Guy is out there too. Do you know what I'm saying? Penfold is with us. Virgin is with us. Malcolm X is with us. Do you know what I'm saying? Gremlin is with us. Everybody is with us. Do you know what I'm saying? You cannot deny that we have covered all bases in terms of the nicknames here. So make sure you smash up the likes for the effort and the gear. Do you know what I'm saying? Look at this beautiful attire. I must say, I could get used to this. I might actually wear this a lot more often. I'm not gonna lie, it's beautiful. And I love the gown as well. It's really wonderful. Okay, has X caught you for Saudi yet? No, he has not. I have not seen him yet, actually. He's now in New York. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think I'll get away with it for a little bit longer. Do you know what I mean? I haven't bumped into him yet. But he's in New York for the World Cup with Rance. I did watch Rance's story on Instagram, and that was hilarious. I'm not going to lie. That was jokes. That's what they call me, bro. That's what they call me. I don't know why. You have to ask the people why they call me that. I have no idea. Let's move on to the other game that I was watching on DR, which was USA versus Wales. Now, I have to say, first of all, I expected USA to edge this one 2-1 as a win. I think the game in the first half reflected that kind of, you know, that's the way it was kind of going. I thought USA played very well in the first half. They were sharp. They were counter-pressing. Weah was really looking very tidy on the ball. He was looking very like, you know, motivated, and he wanted to step up to the big stage, and he wanted to show, you know, obviously his father is the president and whatnot. I think that's a new statistic that he's the first, player to score with their family as the standing president, I think, or something like that. So Timothy was on some serious smoke, and Pulisic was playing very well as well. Just kind of like the old Pulisic that we remember in terms of picking up the ball, driving at the defense, taking people on, kind of what he's been doing in his cameos for Chelsea, and why I've been asking for Potter to maybe use him a bit more. I've been a bit surprised that he hasn't been getting the game time, considering the fact that he's been actually making positive contributions like against Manchester City. Yes, the finishing is not what it needs to be from Pulisic, but he's doing a lot more than some of the other attackers in terms of just being bold and doing his thing. Now, Pulisic, Captain America, is no longer captain. If there's any Americans in the building that can explain to me what happened, I think it's now Tyler Adams that's captain, is it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Captain America is no longer captain. What the hell are we going to call him? Is he vice? I might have to call him vice Captain America. I don't even know. Honestly, I couldn't believe it, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It was a shock to the immune system, but we take it, we digest it, and we package it, and we move on. But I thought he played very well. The only thing I will say is I understand why some American fans now... Oh, politics. Is it because he said something in his book? Oh, you fumbled the bag. Yes, you did, Corey. I'm not going to lie to you. So I was going to get onto that. First half, you guys played really well. I rate the team. I don't know if the team, has really been playing well for the last couple of months prior with the last couple of fixtures. I know there's been some complaints, but I do think that you've got talented players. It's actually quite technical. Aronson was on the, he didn't even start. Raya didn't even come on. That was a shock. This is where I get where some people complain about the manager. Like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of the general consensus of the manager, but you should have brought Raya on, in my opinion. Didn't bring him on. He's a good young player. He's got a lot of talent. And I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't bring him on. And I felt like you kind of lost your way in the game. There was a tactical switch that happened. Obviously, on came Moore for Wales. He provided a focal point. He provided a base to play off, because in the first half, Wales were just lumping the ball forward. To be fair, in the first half, let's be real, they couldn't even get the ball. 66% possession for USA. You were bopping it about. Beautiful. You were creating some opportunities. You should have been, comfortably in the lead, but you played well. You played very well. You looked sharp, but you didn't capitalize on it. And then second half, the changes come. In comes, Raya, not Raya. In comes Moore, gives them a focal point, and then Wales start to up their game and they start to play a lot better. And obviously Gareth Bale gets the penalty, and the rest is history. You end up dropping points, but manager, I feel like the US manager should have done more. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he missed a trick there, not bringing on Reina, and not taking the game again to Wales, and even on the counter. If you bring in Reina and on the counter, you're just a lot more of a threat. Say Wales are gonna have more of the ball and they're gonna start to show their abilities, because they do have some good players. I do think a lot of them are over the hill a little bit. There's an Asian team there, and even Joe Allen on the bench, and Bale and Ramsey, and Dan James is not very good. But there's still quality there if you leave the door open, and that's what the US did. They left the door open. There's no need to leave the door open. You had enough quality. You had better options off the bench than they did as well. No need to do that, but they did so. Manager, I think, has to take some responsibility. Let's go through some comments. Really underwhelming manager, but he's done only MLS, so nothing much to expect. He's the American Southgate. I've heard that said a lot by US fans. So yes. I mean, Bale didn't really do anything in this game, but he gets the penalty, and he puts it in the back of the net. So it is what it is. He hasn't got that same blistering pace that he used to have. So his impact on the counter is not as strong as it used to be. Manager is a donut. Go back to calling him LeBron. Squad voted for Tyler Adams. Guess we can call him the Black Adam. So basically, what you're telling me is that you guys voted for your captain. Okay. I read somewhere they vote for a new captain every year. What? Is that what they do? Oh, wow. That's mad. All right, well, that's something fresh. I'm not even really going to disagree with it, to be honest. I think it's definitely refreshing. I don't really disagree with that. I think that should it happen at club level? I don't see why not. I think, the players should know who the captain should be. They're the ones that are with them. It's democracy, exactly. There's no managers' favorites and nonsense like that. At the end of the day, the players know the players the best. They're training with them week in, week out. They talk to them on a daily basis. They know who the leaders are. They know who the players that are consistent, that can perform in the team. I think there's not really many better to pick the captain than the players themselves. I don't think it becomes a popularity contest, to be honest, because everybody wants to win at the end of the day. You wouldn't pick someone just because you like them. I think you'd pick them because you feel they can lead you to glory. So I like that. It's democracy. I think that's a great idea. I have to say, this celebration was the coldest celebration of the tournament so far. I loved it. I think they had to do it twice because of the goal that was disallowed. But hey, you know what I'm saying? It sounds so nice. You do it twice. Captain America hung up his shield. USA need a quality number 9. It's such an American thing. No, Southgate, do everything right today. We can't make fun of him anymore. I mean, again, we got to calm down on that, because obviously England were brilliant, and if it was Brazil, Argentina would be waxing lyricals. But it is Iran, and like I said, no disrespect to Iran, but there's going to be much tougher competition to come later on in the tournament. And can England replicate that against a top team? I'm not expecting 6 goals, but I'm expecting them to showcase their attacking prowess. If you've got a team that leans towards the attack in terms of quality, then go with it. Your strength is attackers. You got Grealish. You were able to bring on Grealish, Foden, and Rashford, for God's sake, off the bench. You should be leaning towards your attackers. When you've got Cody, Eric Dyer as centre backs and Maguire, yeah, lean towards your attack. Do you know what I mean? Play to your strengths. And that's what I think a lot of England fans have been asking for in terms of just seeing attacking football. We've got so many players in the final third that, you know, on their day are just fantastic to watch. You know, even Sterling, a lot of criticism has been coming for him, but I've said it even with Cucurella. These are very good players. I just feel like they're going through a rough patch, but I don't doubt their quality. And I think Sterling, again, opposition, you have to take it into context. But when you play him back out on the wing and simplify things and don't have him, you know, doing wing back shifts and trying to defend and whatnot, then, you know, his game looks a little bit better. And even under Tuchel, he started the season decently. He started in the front three in the 3-4-3, I think he did as well. And he scored some goals. And obviously Bellingham, you know, running the show as well. This kid is extremely talented. I know a lot of Chelsea fans want him before we speak on Mason Mount and whatnot as well. But listen, for me personally, this player has got either Man City or Real Madrid written all over him. I think if Liverpool, obviously Liverpool have always had that strong interest in him, they would have to make top four, in my opinion, to secure his services because he's just that good. You know, he's going to go to a team that are on the up, not declining, not stagnating, not, you know, I'm not saying Chelsea have no chance, because this owner has proven that he really will put his money where his mouth is. He has no problem slapping out public bids for anyone. But if I was Bellingham, I'm not going to lie, I'm not picking Chelsea over, you know, Manchester City to replace a Gundogan or a Bernardo Silva who could exit. And I'm not picking them over a Real Madrid with a, you know, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga quartet for 3 positions. That's absolutely stardust stuff. Do you know what I mean? If you're telling me that, you know, Real Madrid are going to have those 4 players to pick from the 3-man midfield when Modric retires or whatnot, it doesn't really get better than that for the future of football. So I'm not rejecting those offers if I'm him. That's just me being unbiased. But obviously, I'd love to have him. But we do need a DM. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just looking back at the England goals again because, like I said, I didn't watch it live. So I was only catching little glimpses of it on the highlights on the train back. Bellingham with a wonderful header. He's announcing himself. I mean, we've already seen him in the Champions League. We've seen him carrying Dortmund at times as well with no Erling Haaland. Again, if he goes to Man City, he could be linking up with Erling Haaland again. That's devastating. And they also have a lot of midfielders that are on their way out that I've just mentioned that are a little bit older or just want fresh challenges. Whereas Chelsea got quite a few young midfielders. I don't know if they're going to, you know, sacrifice one of them, sacrificial lambs for a Bellingham, but you've got a Gallagher. I'm not saying, you know, that I would be keeping Gallagher over Bellingham because I wouldn't, but you've got a Carney as well, Mason. Got a lot of young box-to-box midfielders. So where's the room? Do you know what I mean? You got to make it. And that means you got to be very, very cutthroat. I have to say, Saka, you all know how much I rate Saka. He, you know, it pains me to like an Arsenal player as much as Saka, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? I said it from the moment his contract was running down a couple of years ago when I saw him playing left wing back, left midfield, right midfield, left wing. The guy is so versatile, but he's just a quality player. His goal was beautiful, lovely connection on that. Sterling, good to see him getting a goal again as well. A player that I like. Do you know what I mean? He's got his frailties. He's got parts of his game that need, you know, tidying up. You're not going to get it because he's in his prime now. It's basically a wrap. But what a wonderful finish. Do you know what I mean? Just ball across the box. It's not an easy height, but he latches onto it in the back of the net and back post Sterling continues. His finishing is not reliable, but listen, it's there to be seen. And for England, to be fair to him, in the last Euros, I think he was England's best player. I'd say Jack Grealish was the best impact player for us. And, you know, yeah, Kane stat padded his penalties. I don't think Kane had a shot on target in this game. But Saka, Sterling, they did their thing. And if you watch the video that I put out earlier today, in terms of what I would like to see from England in the group stage, this type of performance is basically what I meant. You know, go attacking, go bold, take your shots, feed your attackers, play to their strengths. I want to see the Sakas on the right wing like they play for Arsenal. I want to see the Sterlings on the wing. I want to see the Grealishes get involved, the Fodens come in as well. That 4-3-3, I think it allows everybody to play in their natural positions. And I feel like for me personally, it just allows Mason Mount, which we're going to get onto, to have those forward options. I don't want to see Mason Mount playing in a front three anymore. And I'm starting to think that his contract negotiation halt is down to potentially his position, because I don't believe Mason Mount is trying to be greedy in terms of the contract situation at Chelsea. I do believe it's down to more than that. Where is the club going? You know, project, all of these things. Just getting clarification before he pens down a 6-7 year deal. I don't believe Mason Mount or any player should just sign on a 6 year deal for no reason without thinking it through. Of course, that, you know, stops you from, you know, if you get a massive injury, you've got a lot of, you know, you've got a lot of time in the bank. But On the other side, you're also locked in for a contract. And if you ever did want to leave, then you wouldn't be able to. We've seen that with players before. Now, like I said, Mason Mount, I've said it before, very good player. For me, overspoken about, over-criticized and overhyped. Still developing, still improving. But I will say this, and I've said this for a while. I do believe that it's time to stop playing him in different positions. I would love to see him back in the 8. I've been crying out for him to play in the 8, in the midfield 3 for a while. I know at Chelsea, systematically, technically, it's not maybe possible because of the lack of holding midfielder and the other things that the team lacks and whatnot. We just have to bide our time and wait. But for England, you know, it was wonderful to see. You know, it was wonderful to see him back in that position. I will not forget the time under Frank Lampard where we were top of the league. He was playing in the midfield 3. I remember the game at home to Everton in particular. The guy was just running the midfield. You know, he's switching play. He's got a wonderful little, you know, crisp switch of play on him. You know, he's good at driving the ball, progressing the ball. And I don't want to see him in the final third receiving the ball with the back to goal, or even in the final third being relied upon for output, even though his output's been decent or pretty good by Chelsea standards. I want to see him with the 8 position. I want to see him develop. I want to see him become an all-round, complete midfielder. He's got the hard work. Yes, he's got the graft. He's got the counter press, all these things. But I want to see the passing. I want to see the progressive passing. I want to see the responsibility to pick the ball up from deep, in deeper areas, and try to get as many touches on the ball as possible. Start the build-up play alongside that DM and do these things. I think he's more than capable. And like I said, I'm not going to forget what I saw at Vitesse, what I saw at Derby in midfield 3s. For me, that's what the development arc is about. And that's what I want to see going forward. So probably not going to see much of it in a Chelsea shirt until we sort out ourselves in midfield. But hopefully in England shirt, he continues playing in this position. And yeah, I thought, you know, he looked really good. Like I said, you know, no shots for Kane, but no one really cares. You know what I mean? He's gonna score goals at some point. Just needs to stay in the box, not drop into the reducer position. So I have no problems there. I still don't like the way that he's picking these defenders. And I looked at Pickford's statistics, for instance, right? And maybe I was too harsh, to be fair, on Pickford. And I've said this even on Twitter when I was going back and forth with Henry Winter, we've had on the channel before, one of the most, you know, renowned English journalists out there. Works for the Times. Pickford is not my ball-playing goalkeeper. I would be playing Ramsdale. You've got Ramsdale and Pope that are level for clean sheets. Obviously, helps that they play for better teams than Pickford does. But Pickford, to be fair to him, is save percentage and is, you know, all of his statistics from a goalkeeping standpoint is very strong this season. Very strong when you check the statistics. Everton were joint for clean sheets at one point before, you know, they tailed off, and now it's Newcastle. But they were joint, for the best defensive record in the league at one point under Lampard with Tchaikovsky and Cody and all these guys. So it was, you know, statistically it's looking good for Pickford in the goalkeeping position, and he's got the loyalty card as well. So I'm not even really going to get into that. But I do feel like he's always going to take Maguire, cool, but you didn't have to take Dyer as well. When Dyer comes on, I'm sorry, you can just tell it's just you want more, you want better. You know, we want better for us, for our eyes. We want to see more. You got Tomori, and I'm not even saying Tomori's faultless. Tomori's got mistakes in him. We've seen it against Chelsea in the Champions League. But you've got so many other centre backs. Dan Burn, who's having a great season at Newcastle. You know, Duncan Webster having good seasons at Brighton, who play in back threes. If you were to ever go back to that again and play good possession football, there's just so many guys that, you know, they just suit the team more, just suit the team better. I'm just disappointed with the selection, in my opinion. And if you're gonna bring these guys, I think at some point Ben White has got to be in the conversation for starting for England at centre back. At right back, you've got Trippier and you've got Trent. You know, and you've got Walker as well when he gets back fit. You know, even though he's been playing at right back, you kind of have enough options. But when it comes to the centre backs, bro, Ben White has been one of the best defenders. Forget what position he plays. He's been one of the best defenders in the league this season, along with your Botmans and at Newcastle and whatnot. And, you know, just play him, man. He plays possession football. He knows how to play out from the back. He's technical. He's high on confidence. He's been playing brilliantly, man. And that's why I want Ramsdale in as well, because then there's a little bit of chemistry between those two. Obviously, it's not going to happen. I'm wasting my time even talking about it. But here's what I would like to see. I think if you have an Arsenal team that are in form like that and you've got a few English players in that defence, I think you've got to take advantage for me. And like I said, you know, Maguire is not even starting for United on more often than not. Again, loyalty card. And Eric Dyer at Tottenham, I've said it to Tobes many a time. I think they should be doing much better. I know he had a little patch where he was doing all right, but is all right good enough? Is all right going to be good enough when you play Mbappe? Is all right going to be good enough when you play Neymar or you know, Rodrigo, or you know, Messi or Martinez, Di Maria? Is all right going to be good enough? I can tell you right now, all right is not going to be good enough. Decent is not going to be good enough. You're going to need players at the peak of their powers in terms of their form, their confidence, all these things. And yeah, we'll see if he keeps going with these guys. But listen, they conceded 2 goals today that they didn't need to concede, and that was against Iran. So if you do that against better opposition, you're not going to get 6 goals for sure, because their defense is going to be a lot better than that, and you're going to get punished. So this is where I monitor England in the latter stages when they play, you know, the top teams, and I see, can they actually go toe to toe. I think England, from a quality standpoint in terms of the team, not going to go as far with the manager, because I still think he's all right, but he's not. Listen, he's not really anything special. But there's not many international managers, to be fair, that are that special. I think Enrique, Mancini, you know, there's a couple of world class ones, but or top managers. There's not many, you know, special ones, to be fair. A lot of them, Portugal, people complain about that manager. USA, they complain about that manager. There's a lot of average managers that are in international jobs. I don't know why, but that's the situation. Even Trevor Chalobah, great point. He's been in good form as well for Chelsea this season. But yeah, I don't think managers are going to split it really in terms of what happens. I think it's going to be the players on the pitch and the quality that's shown the individual brilliance at times. And they don't get to work with them, you know, week in, week out in training and whatnot. So that plays a part. You're not expecting to see, you know, some sort of some well-oiled machine that was put together for years and years. Maybe you will, but you know, more time you don't. They're coming from different systems and different ideologies, and one team is playing Conte ball, next team is playing Pep ball. It's all over the shop. But yeah, I do feel like, you know, that defense is England's Achilles heel, and we're gonna have to see if it fixes up. Wilson, this is something that needs ultimate praise. I was very impressed when I saw this. Wilson squaring it for Grealish was brilliant. It was a very unselfish moment from him, and it was the correct decision. If you look at the goal, that, you know, when it's transpiring, Wilson's angle is closing more and more as the situation, you know, continues to go ahead. And the best option was to slow it down. It's what you would do on FIFA. That was a very FIFA, you know, moment from him. You know, sweaty goal, and I love a sweaty goal. You know, people always used to cuss me on the mic. Oh, you can't do a sweaty goal. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. You can't do that. I said, bro, I'll do exactly what I want. But also, this is the beautiful game. If you can walk the ball in, I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do. I think they're some of the best goals. If you can, I mean, remember Arsenal, Wenger, you know, or, you know, Pep Barcelona, you know, any of these teams, they used to walk the ball in sometimes, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Ancelotti, Chelsea, do you know what I mean? In that season where we scored the most ever goals in a Premier League season that we've ever scored, I think. You know, when we had Malouda and we had Drogba and we had Nelka and Lampard, sometimes we used to walk it in. We used to walk, bro. It was beautiful. 8-0, 7-0. I think that's some of the best goals you could score. It shows that the team is playing as a team. There's no selfishness. There's no players that are feeling that they're above it all. Everybody's willing to be part of it. I think it's beautiful. So I'll always back that. I'll always back the sweaty goals every single time. So yeah, but yeah, really good from Wilson. Very intelligent play, and yeah, man, I think he's gonna be a very useful player for England. Obviously, he's not going to start, but you know, that's what it is. Over1 says, yep, Mason Mount in the 8 with a Cesc Fabregas-esque mid next to him. Spot on. I think you need someone with more creativity, just in terms of their passing. And then you got Mason Mount next to him. I think that's good balance. I liken it to maybe having like a Thiago for Liverpool next to, I don't know, let me think. Because Liverpool, I've said it many a time, Grizz has said it as many times. Mason Mount, I know there's been a little link. I don't really buy too much into that. So I'm not really going to, you know, I'm not going to give it too much attention right now until I see a formal bid. But Liverpool, Mason Mount would suit a Liverpool, you know, in the way that they used to play, at least with the rock and roll. I don't know really how they've been doing this season. It's been a little bit all over the place. But, yeah, no, he does suit that. But I do think he's got more quality in terms of technical ability than a Wijnaldum, or say even, you know, a Henderson, or, you know, players like this. I do think technically he's better than this. I wouldn't say that has to be on these guys' level. Not to say that they're bad players, but I do think technically he's better than that. But I don't think, I know he's technically better than those players. So when those comparisons start, I feel like, yes, it's because he's not playing well for Chelsea at the moment, or he looks a little bit all over the shop. But I think when he's at his best, we've seen him nutmeg people. We've seen him nutmeg João Felix. We've seen him, do that wonderful turn that he does in the half space against Porto in the Champions League. You don't see Henderson doing that. You don't see Wijnaldum doing that. You don't see those players doing those things. He's got some flair. Make no mistake, Mason Mount has some flair in his game. He doesn't use it a lot, and he doesn't have a ridiculous amount of it. I'm not going to say to you that he's some sort of prime Maradona, Cruyff, playmaking, acrobatic entertainer. He's not. But he's got a little bit of something to him. And I feel like we need to get that a little bit more out of him. And I think, and he needs to demand that from himself as well, for sure. Because he's not as bad as he's looked this season. He's had a couple nice games when Potter first came in, and it's kind of derailed again. So hopefully this World Cup will give him confidence. And then when he comes back to Chelsea, same with Sterling. I'm hoping that they just gain confidence from these matches with England. They come back and then they carry that over. Another player I didn't mention was Alvarez. I know Mexico haven't played yet, but Alvarez is obviously at Mexico, with Mexico in this tournament, a player that we've been linked with for Ajax. He wasn't on my one to watch because I just didn't have enough time to keep mentioning more players. But he's obviously been playing DM, and we've been keeping an eye on him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays for Mexico. Great on the half turn, honestly, brilliant on the half turn. Okay, so we've spoken about that. What else is there to get into? Let's see. We've spoken about Mason Mount. Let me go through some of your comments as well, because I'm probably forgetting something. Like I said, I didn't watch the England game live. It's the only game I didn't watch live, but it is what it is. I mean, we can also go back to Enner Valencia. I have to say, very clinical for Ecuador. We're seeing in this tournament already how important it is to have a clinical striker up front, or a clinical talisman, or some sort of stardust that you need, because Ecuador had that in Enner Valencia. I didn't expect it. I knew he's a good player. He used to play for West Ham, but I wasn't expecting stardust from him. Wonderful finishing, beautiful header from the cross. Obviously, Caicedo is we already knew, good player. He did his thing against Qatar. Again, the opposition, you have to take it into account, but he did his thing. And then you see the lack of, maybe finishing ability in the Senegal game without Mane, and obviously Depay was carrying a knock, so he only came off the bench. They were missing that spark until Gakpo scored, and the same applies to even the US game as well, in terms of not finishing their opportunities. Let me quickly pick up my wire. So yeah, I just feel like we're starting to see already that clinical players. You can play all the wonderful football in the world, you can keep possession, you can do your thing, but if you're not putting teams to the sword, you're there to be got at, you leave the door open, and then you could easily drop points that you shouldn't drop. I spoke on Mendy for sure. I did. That was actually the first person that I spoke about on this stream, just because I feel like he was unfortunately one of the biggest players that we took from today in terms of the L. England, they all played well. Everybody enjoyed themselves out there. It's a shame that Reece James is not involved, because I feel like Reece James would be a starter in this England team. And I'd love to see him playing in games like this. From an unselfish point of view, I know Chelsea, we could do better with him resting, but it would have been nice if he just didn't get injured in the first place and he was playing, because he deserves to play. Same with Chilwell. I do feel sorry for them missing out. I think Chilwell could easily start ahead of Luke Shaw. And I think, not easily, Luke Shaw can have his moments, but I think he would start, and I would start James as well ahead of Trippier. Okay, anyone going to scout Argentina game tomorrow? So tomorrow, I'm thinking to release a video based on who the World Cup means the most to for their legacy, and just the different little details within the players of Ronaldo, Messi, and Neymar. I'm not going to do a watch along for Argentina versus Saudi Arabia. I'm going to keep the watch alongs primarily to obviously whatever I'm available for as well when I'm not on DR, to Chelsea players. Let me take a look at my schedule. I'll be able to tell you guys when my first watch along is. I will be doing watch alongs. I'm not going to do every game, as you can see. Obviously, I'm doing some on DR, but I will be doing some watch alongs. I think my first few watch alongs are on Wednesday. We have the schedule all sorted. You can expect watch alongs for sure. Okay, so I mean, on Wednesday we will be doing some watch alongs. Like I said, we will be doing Monaco versus Croatia. We've got some players there, and we've got Germany versus Japan. We've got Kai Havertz. So we will be doing both of those watch alongs on the Wednesday. And then on the Thursday, we'll be doing Brazil, Serbia. Friday, we've got Qatar versus Senegal and England versus USA. So I'll be doing all those watch-alongs over the course of the next few days. And, you know, involving Chelsea players. For the knockout rounds, then I'll be trying to do as many games as I can that I'm not needed for DR, because I'll be, you know, it'll be knockouts. And that's when we're really getting serious in the competition. I feel like Argentina are probably going to walk all over Saudi Arabia. Obviously, a Messi masterclass is pending, but the game is very early. And I'd like to get my video out because I feel like Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, the conversation has to be had. I'm looking forward to that. I look dressed for the trip. Yeah, man, I said to myself, you know, I wasn't really feeling the World Cup fever a couple of days ago. You know, even the first game, it didn't really feel like it was a World Cup as of yet. The stadiums have been a little bit empty. We're going to discuss that as well. You know, the capacities are not really full. I remember the South Africa World Cup. I remember the Brazil World Cup. Obviously, Peter Jury's famous commentary, again, another person we've had on this channel, and he's kind of gone into the details of those commentaries and those big moments that he's spoken about in World Cups. The atmosphere isn't really there yet. I do feel like there's definitely, you know, sections. You can see there was loads of Wales fans in that corner of the ground. The Senegalese were fantastic as well with the flags. It was beautiful to see. Even when they were losing, they were still cheering their team on. You just don't have that carnival atmosphere, that really, you know, a packed out stadium. I don't even mind with the vuvuzelas. I'm not gonna lie. I'll take the vuvuzelas. I don't mind. I don't mind clappers. You know, because it's the World Cup. In my opinion, as Specs Gonzalez would say, no rules. If it's the World Cup, it's the global game. Whatever you usually have for your atmosphere to be amplified, for me, you bring it. Do you know what I mean? Bring it to the party. Let every single nation bring their unique, you know, tool or, you know, whatever they wish to use to make their atmosphere even better, whether it's drums, whether it's, you know, vuvuzelas, whether it's clappers. I actually don't care. Genuinely, I don't care, because it's the World Cup and I'm here to experience different atmospheres, and I'm here to experience the world of football. I'm not here to experience the way the English do it, what I'm used to every week in the Premier League or whatever. So yeah, man, I'm here for it. But stadiums haven't really been sold out. And it hasn't really been, you know, I don't know, it's just not quite there yet. But hopefully it gets better. You know, in the knockouts, I expect, you know, the sales to just get, you know, better. I expect more people to go to knockout games, of course. Maybe the group stages, you know, it's a little bit slow. So yeah, we can only hope. I mean, to be fair, bro, I'm just wearing my wonderful gown and my wonderful headscarf. That's what I'm on. Do you know what I mean? Let's see. No, it's not. It's actually not. I ordered this. It's really not. Okay. But that's a good question to ask, because that is something that you know, you would probably associate with something that's stupid that I would do. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. Let's see. Anyone going to scout Argentina? I mean, we spoke about Argentina a little bit. Enzo Fernandez, I'm not expecting. We're going to do the stream for an hour and then I'm going to wrap up. FIFA will be back. I know you guys want to see FIFA. Some of you, you know, the real FIFA merchants right now with me, you know, the couple of hundred of you that are really invested in the career mode. I know you want to see it every day. I'm gonna keep it every couple of days. You know, I'm going to do it every day. So we still got the World Cup to cover. But yeah, there will be FIFA coming soon as well. So keep the notifications on. Make sure to subscribe to career mode. The Champions League run continues very soon. But for Argentina, obviously Enzo Fernandez has been linked to a Benfica 21-year-old DM. I don't expect him to start, as I said in my video yesterday, because obviously they have Rodriguez, they have Paredes, they have DePaul, they have even McAllister as well, who has 6 caps from Brighton. So they have, I am doing a Brazil watch along. Yes, I'll be doing the Brazil watch along against, who did I say? Let me see. I can't remember. I said I would do it, and it will be on their next game. Oh my God, I'm mashing up my phone. I'm all over the shop, lads. Brazil versus who? Brazil play next, guys? Serbia. Serbia. At 7 o'clock. So yeah. But yeah, for me, I don't even know what I was even saying now. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Let's see. More than you can believe. Brilliant. When it's America, I'll host you, Matt, if you need a place. Thought about going to Qatar. No, not me. I mean, I cannot afford. But yes, back to what we were saying. Argentina. I just don't expect him to play. You know, there's a lot more experienced players in that team that have been doing it, and they're unbeaten in 36. So why would you change that up? But I'm sure Messi, Di Maria, you know, these guys will turn up, do their thing. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing Argentina. I'll be watching it at home, but I won't be covering it. Okay, but as, like I said, knockouts, we'll see them. Can we get to the semi-final? At least I think we can. We have the tools to win the World Cup. Who do you mean? State your country. State your country. Messi's last World Cup. Deep it. Yes. Messi's last World Cup. Ronaldo's last World Cup. Neymar potentially, especially with the injury issues he's had over the years. Although I think he seems to be a bit better this year. Who else? Modric. Toni Kroos was already out. I didn't even clock, but he was already gone. Thomas Muller. Who else is there? Name the players if you can remember them. Di Maria. Loads of players, man. Loads of players. So even like Benzema, you know, Benzema probably won't be back for another World Cup. Neuer as well. So many legacies on the line. So many players that we haven't seen. Thiago Silva. A lot of guys for their last World Cup. Dani Alves for sure. Dani Alves is definitely. I'm shocked that Dani Alves is even in this World Cup. Dani Alves definitely his last World Cup for sure. So yeah, man, it's sad. I'm not gonna lie, sad, man. There's a lot of greats, a lot of goats, a lot of top players. I always fear will these guys be replaced, but they always, you know, do somehow be replaced by a new up and coming talent. But you know, they have to obviously make their name in the game. Hazard as well. Hazard definitely his last one, man. He's really on the last legs, and you know his quotes about not being able to return to his 2018, 2019 level is sad. Lewandowski for sure, 100%. Forget about him because Poland always performs so poorly in these tournaments, man. Like Poland, I mean, listen, outside of him, do we really expect them to do a madness? Probably not, but yeah, they never really do the business. Cavani, Suarez as well, definitely on their last tournaments for sure. You know, there's a lot of players, man. Diego Godin as well, another one. There's a lot of 39-year-olds as well walking about the streets in this tournament. Goalkeepers as well. Hugo Lloris, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. Even someone like Raphael Varane. I know Varane's not that old, but when you look at the young defenders coming up from France, he is in the worst country, in the worst team to be turning 33 maybe, especially when he's been a defender that's kind of relied on his pace. And you've got like Saliba and Konate and Kimpembe and Theo Hernandez and Lucas Hernandez and like Konate, Kunde. You just got so many young centre backs coming through, and there's probably more. Lacroix. There's so many centre backs coming through in France. He's probably in his last one, and he doesn't even know it. Busquets for sure. Busquets for sure, man. For sure. Are we going to see Kante and Pogba are at risk, man? If Camavinga, I really hope Deschamps starts Camavinga in this tournament ahead of Rabiot. I don't know if he's going to do it. I really hope he does because I want to see Camavinga and Tchouaméni as a double pivot with obviously, I think he said he's going to play Griezmann in the 10 or whoever he plays in the 10. Obviously, Nkuku's injured, etc. But I would love to see Camavinga really get his opportunity to replace Pogba, which is the kind of player I think he is. Obviously, Kante replaced by Tchouaméni in a different type of way. The new era of French football in the midfield is upon us. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's no guarantee that Kante is here for the next one. I actually don't think he will be. Let's take a look at Kante's age. Where is he? 31. He'll be 30. Be 35. Nah, he ain't. Nah, man. That's it. Do you know what I'm saying? That's his last one. Again, Kante, he's not going to be in the next World Cup at 35. I can assure you. With the way that he plays the game, no chance. With the injuries, no chance. Wow. No Kante at the next World Cup, most likely. Navas, Costa Rica. Is that Costa Rica, Navas? Or Jesus Navas still being called up for Spain? I know they're struggling in attack. You know what I'm saying? France are going out of the World Cup. They will struggle. Busquets, all these things. Yeah, man. So there's a lot of players on their way out. But like I said, we will discuss all these things. We're going to wrap up. It's midnight. I need to make this video. Hopefully get it out for you tomorrow. If not, then I'll be back here tomorrow night. I might do this type of show again, rounding up what happened or discussing what's happened, depending on just what the games transpire. Obviously, it's all nil-nils. I'm not going to bother cover it. I'll do a FIFA. But we will be back tomorrow night with some sort of content for you. And there's daily content throughout the World Cup, of course. Make sure you subscribe, smash up the likes. Leave your comments down below in terms of just whatever you want to discuss down there, as always. And yeah, man, hope you guys like the overlay. And yeah, big up your damn selves as always. Got plenty more coming. And I'll try to get onto Twitch and play Call of Duty, but it's very difficult in the World Cup, especially in the group stage because there's no days off. But hopefully, if like I said, you never know. If there's dead games, then we can change things around. We don't have to talk about these games. If the games tomorrow aren't really worth discussing, then we won't discuss them. We'll keep it moving swiftly because there's games every day. So And also today was great because to be fair, today was a great day. We had an England battering, great goals being scored. Had to discuss that. Pulisic played US, they got a point. And also obviously Senegal, that's very heavily Chelsea related. So there's a lot to discuss on Chelsea. So yeah. All right. Big up your damn selves. I will see you guys in a bit. Much love. Peace. Come on. You already know what time it is.